Yo, what's up, guys? It's the new sensation, Bigger Notation here, and today I'm here once again with my teammate Peter Dance. Another spectacular regionals result under the belt for him. He managed to finish ninth place in the recent Raid and Trade regionals, finishing 4-2 with his Golden Frieza list. So, welcome, Peter. Thanks for joining us again today.
Thanks. Thanks for having me as always, and you know, thanks for letting me do this deck profile for you guys.
Yeah, that's no problem, bro. Of course, gotta have you on here flexing your stuff for the T-2 squad.
Right.
But yeah, like usual, I'll let you take over for now. You can run us through the deck list and your matchups, and yeah, just take us through the Golden Freezer strategy.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go over the list. I mean, shout out to Legends because it's basically his list from Gen Con, which he won. So I'm not going to showcase it, basically copied his list. I've done a few changes in terms of what I prefer in the main deck, and I'll go through. I won't go into as much detail as him because you can watch his video on that, but I will go over what I did like and what I would consider changing. This is a list that's made for best of one, so there is a lot of one-offs in the main, and then a lot of one-offs in the side. Because the idea is you can just switch what you need between the games. This is set one Frieza. For anyone that doesn't know, he's he's a very old leader because it's not obviously from the first set. But its activate main is you just place one of your Frieza army battle cards in the drop. You draw one, untap one on his unawakened side. He awakens at 4 life. You draw two, and then on his backside, same principle, but instead of untapping one, you now untap two, and he actually now draws when he swings. So the best piece of advice with this particular leader is you want to awaken as quickly as possible, and it's probably best not to attack on the unawakened side because you want to awaken, turn two, turn three, probably turn three most of the time, and then you can start attacking on your awakened side to start getting value because you don't want to really give them cards in their hand on your unawakened side um, because you're not getting any advantages. So Frieza, in my eyes, is pretty much solved. However, for anyone that would have watched one of my games on stream, I played the mirror match, but it was a green version of the deck instead of yellow. So I think even though the yellow feels pretty solved, I feel like Legends build is pretty much solved. I think there's also options for different colors as well, because the great thing with the leader is you don't have to untap yellow. You can untap any of your energy. So this is the standard freezer package. So this is kind of your engine, if you like, and I feel like this is also what makes the deck so good. Is in a nutshell, these have a wall of text, but literally all they are is in this particular deck is pay one, draw one, and then kill with your leader, untap, draw one. That's all they're there for. They're not there for anything else other than that. And this lovely card, this Freezer Call, allows me to get any of these particular cards from my deck in rest mode. So I can pay one for this, bring this out from my deck in rest mode. I draw a card, then I kill it. I draw, untap this and draw another card, and that's where you get your most of your value from. This one is more for self awakening. So again, when you kill this with your leader skill, I would draw on tap one, and then I can take a life. You can also play a freezer, 2 drop from your hand that isn't this card, but that will never. You don't do that. So literally, and again, these make your reposts live as well, because again, you can charge them, or if they're in the drop, they're paying towards that. So this is your, if you like, your package, as I call it. And it's so good because again, it's very small, and they all draw cards, they all untap cards. So like you would never change any of this. This is perfect. I think you could go for one more awakener, but I don't feel like you ever need it. And then one of the best things with the deck as well is the Unison package. So we have 3 Higher Dragons and 3 Gohans. A few months back used to run 4 of each of these, but they get a bit cloggy. So now you drop them down to 3 each. What's really good with this one is it's got a +1 where it can play these 1-drops from your drop. They do have their skills negated, so you don't get to draw one. But if you think about it, it's just this brings this out, and then all of a sudden you can kill it to untap 2 energy, for example. So it's got way and draw a card. So it's got ways to basically help you towards the game as well. It's got a +0 where it just simply draws a card. You do use it now and again, but very rarely in the grand scheme of things. It's mostly for the +1. Also, what's really cool is even though it's a 5k based Unison, if you have a skillless on the field, it gets a 10k boost on your turn. So you can actually pay uptick by 1, play a Frieza, one of the 1-drop Frieza cards, swing 15k, and then you can then kill the Frieza on tap 2 or draw, depending again on your on awaken or awaken side. And then what's really good is the Gohans as well. They are empowered 3. So obviously, turn 1, or not turn 1, but you pay 1 for this, you go up to 2. You then pay 3 for this. You've now got 5 markers. You kill the 1-drop that you played. You've now untapped 2, draw 1. So this has only really cost you, 1 energy to play, which is really good. This has got some really cool effects as well. So it's 20k base, which is great. It's got a simple +1, which is draw a card, a -3, which gives it triple attack, and then your leader in this card gets 5k until basically your turn and your opponent's turn. So your leader becomes a 20k base. This becomes 25 until it loses a marker, and it's blocker as well. So again, this is quite this is like part of your win condition as well, because again, if you drop like 2 of these on the same turn, that's basically potentially 9 attacks you can do just from your Unison alone, and the 25k each time. And then your leader then is 25k base on offense and defense as well. So the super combo lineup is 3 Krillins, because again the SCR is not Piccolo in this deck, and this this Son Goku super combo, which I'll talk about why this is in there over the 4th one of these. Personally, I don't like this. I'm gonna, because again, this is something that Legends used, and Legends, seems like he likes this particular card. I personally am going to go back up to 4 copies of Krillin. I'll explain in a second why. But I don't think you go for any other super combos. You either go Krillin or the Goku. Now the reason why for this particular 5-drop Frieza card. So what happens is this 5-drop Frieza came out last set. You can Z charge it and then pay 2 to bring it out with from your Z energy. Attack with it, draw, kill something in rest mode, ignoring barrier, which is fantastic on play. And then it's got an activate main, so you remove it from the game. And then I can basically play either this card or this card from my drop or my hand. Obviously, you're not going to play a super combo from your hand, because why would you? But if you use this earlier in the turn or a few turns ago, and it's in your drop, you can then activate main, put this back on the field, and then super combo, swing with leader, super combo, draw another card. So it's kind of cute in that respect. But at least every time I did that, this card, they either negated my leader swing, or this card got warped or something, or killed. So personally, even though that's the interaction of like looping your super combos in this deck, when I did it, I found it wasn't very good. Or sometimes I would overwhelm, and then this is now in the warp. So it's pointless in that respect. So personally, I'm going to go back to 4 Krillins. But if you did want to sort of copy this like for like, that is the reason why it's in there. Like say, this can bring it out. And this, you get 20k. And it's also a Frieza card as well. So if you want to kill it with your leader skill, you've got that option too. This is the other card you can bring out, which is a great card because it helps with your self-awakening. You can either bring it out with this card, or you can pay 1 and tap down what is it again? It's a yellow Goku or Vegeta. So if you had one of these field, or just pay 2 energy for it. Either one works. But basically, auto, you take a life, and then you either get double strike or dual attack for the turn, and you have a 5k boost, so you become a 20k dual or double. And again, you just use that based on what you need at the time. There's no right or wrong. I wouldn't change these ratios. I don't see these too often, so like sometimes I kind of want to get rid of these, but again, it's part of like this small little engine. These are really, really good. If you don't run these, that's fine, but these you definitely run. Again, I used to run 3 of these. Now I've been running 4. I think you go with the 4. I think it's a nice small engine. But like I said, I think I would just change the super combo lineup. Now I'll talk about yellow good stuff. Obviously, Power of the Super Saiyan, it's limited to 1 for a reason. 2 drops. I say 2 drops tin because it does cost 2 energy, but it's a 4 cost sin technically. This is a weird one because I feel like this card is busted, but it kind of feels like you only run 2 now. I used to run 3, and I feel like you see it too often. I feel it's fine at 2. You have to run it. It's an amazing card, and yeah, pretty good. And then 1 counter in the side. Sorry, in the main. I have more in the side. Again, you don't need to use it too often. It's there for certain matchups like Android 21, or if there's a particular floodgate that's going to really mess you up that turn. And of course, Riposte as one of your major defensive cards as well. Now, you'll probably notice that I haven't shown Vegito, the counterplay. That is more of a side deck choice in this particular build. And you'll see, and I'll explain why as well as we get on. So some more Self-Awakeners is Master Roshi. This used to be 4 off in the deck. You can go down to 3 now because you've got the 2 Goku and Vegeta 2 drops. If they weren't in the deck, then this would definitely go back up to 4. But if we think about it now, we have 3 of these, and we technically have 2 more Self-Awakeners, so we actually have more Self-Awakeners than we used to. So for this purpose, this can go down to 3 because you don't need them like you did. Some more utility as well is 2 Overwhelms. I've always ran 2 of these. I've never had 3. I like 2 because sometimes you don't want to get rid of your drop. Yep, so these are very good cards. This is your Overwhelm. Like I say, I wouldn't change that from... I would always keep that at 2. I wouldn't lower it down to 1. And I personally would never have it more than 3. And like I say, with Master Roshi as your Self-Awakener card, just 3 is fine now that you've got the Vegeta and the Goku and Vegeta, sorry. So the next load of cards are all one-offs. You can choose to add more copies or remove copies, main deck more. That's up to you. These are all because it's a best of 1 pre-side. If it was best of 3, I would definitely main deck 2 copies of some of these, and I would reduce some to side deck only. But it is purely based on what you think the meta is. But because it's best of 1 pre-side, I don't need to make that decision in this. So first of all, 1 copy of the Frieza 5-drop. This is a really cool card, a really good card. It's kind of got indestructible in some respects because it can't be removed by skills, which makes it really good. Obviously, you can minus it by 25 or blank it, so it's not indestructible, but it kind of is. But you can kill it through normal battle damage. It is a blocker as well, and it is double strike, and it restands the same turn it's played. Now, what's really cool and why you'd use this is mostly against blue, because if they activate a counter, for example, you can tap down 2 of their, let's say 2 of their energy, and then they don't get to restand or tap down their leader. So if you're against like Nimbus, for example, you could keep their leader in rest mode, because it's exact text. When your opponent activates a counter attack skill, choose 2 of their cards, switch them to rest mode. If they're already in rest mode, you can still choose that, and they can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's next turn. So that's what makes it really good. Again, choose the leader if you wish to, but this is kind of a boss monster for the deck as well, so I'd keep that in the main. So just to go over the one-offs, so you got Black Kamiha, which is great because you can use it to rest, again, if you're against a wide board, rest down multiple cards, 10k boost, or again, if they've got anti-untap cards for your leader skill, like Kami for green, etc., then you can shut them down. One thing I will say, because I'll put these together, I'll put Nimbus and Forbidden Power together, because again, you can main deck 2 Nimbuses, you could, main deck if you want 2 Forbiddens. They're both very similar cards. I feel like Riposte is fantastic early game, but I feel like the later the game goes on, it loses its effect quite a lot. And I feel like Nimbus, especially Nimbus, personally for me, overperformed. And with a lot of decks now running more counterplays to deal with Riposte, I just feel like Nimbus is just, I don't know, MVP, or at least one of the most great cards of the weekend, really. Forbidden Power does very, very similar things, but it's also got the extra benefit of potentially resting a battle card, which can come in again if you need to kill something that's in active mode. So these are both very similar. Forbidden Power doesn't negate, but you don't need to discard, and again, they can only attack one more time with a battle card. With Nimbus, it actually negates, and then again, they've only got one more battle card swing. So these are really good when they swing with their leader first. But again, that's why they're just one-offs. A one-off T-Blow. Not many floodgates really hurt the deck, but it is, again, it's just little tech cards because we've been best of 1 pre-side. Time Magic, Frieza's Army. So again, as you can see, there's a lot of extra cards here. You can just one-off, 2-offs. You just change it based on the matchup. These 3 are just main deck, but they are just basically cards I can easily side out. It makes my life easier. So these are for the Gohan matchups because, again, as you see, Gohan wins a lot of events. So I'm expecting Gohan to be more common. So if I at least have 2 cards in there, I don't need to think about what I'm siding out against Gohan. And also at the same time, if I'm not against Gohan, I have 2 cards now I can just get rid of very easily. And I love, even though it's counterproductive a little bit as well, I really like when I can just easily side out cards. I don't need to think about like, oh, will this be good? Like if I'm against, I don't know, a blue deck, I don't need these. So these can go out and then I can put in more easier cards to deal with that. And Mutado is good against boss monsters. Obviously, Gohan is definitely one of them. But again, these 3 just make it a lot easier if I need to side out. And then I'll just side out, an extra card that's not needed for that particular map. And you'll only find that helpful. And then basically my 2 SCRs, Bloodlust and Golden Cooler, which I think is the only SCR you should run when it comes to Frieza. But these are basically your 2, SCRs basically. So that's the main deck. It's 54 cards in total. And like I said, it's kind of built around so you can easily side out cards. So what you'll find is, especially in the extra card lineup, a lot more sort of one-off. So a one-off Nimbus, one-off Time Magic, and a one-off Tyrannical Blow. And again, like I said to you, these can be just sided in to make 2 copies or not. Death Blaster, again, if I need another Bloodlust, which does happen, especially like in the mirror match. So as you can see, that's the way it's all built together. This is something, again, I stole from Legends. Really nice little bit of tech. He main decked it where I put it in the side. So this is for like Android 21 mostly. Because again, I did play against one Android 21 and I did it on his SCR. So I +0. So you negate its skills, rest it and kill it. If it's 4 or less, which obviously the SCR is 4 when it's on the field or in the hand. So again, it's a nice little tech card. You just side out one of your Gohan Unisons for it, and that's the way I tend to do my side decking for anyone that's sort of thinking about, oh, what do I side in, what do I side out. I try and keep it consistent. So it's like, if I wanted another Nimbus, I might take out the token negate, an extra card for an extra card, if you like, or Unison for a Unison. I try and keep something like that because then I feel like it makes side decking a lot easier. And I feel like then if you're against a rogue matchup that you haven't prepped for, it's a lot easier to decide, okay, this is what I need to side out, this is what I need to keep in. Trunks the Cunning, again for its Android 21. 2 coolers. If I really needed to stop more floodgates, again, Android 21 is a prime example of good floodgates to stop. As I mentioned before, the Vegetos are in the side deck because mostly, like, I didn't miss them because I'm using my Z energy so much now. I didn't really find that I would have 2 Z energy always spare. Plus, everyone expects you to main deck this card as well. So I'd side in this against more aggressive matchups. So like if I was against Red Hand, for example, or a heavy Unison build, I would side this in. But ultimately, you can get away with this in the side now. And against blue, you never play it because you never want to get 2 Z energy because of the 8-drop cube as well. There's a few matchups that is irrelevant. 2 more Matados again for the boss monsters for Gohan. 1 Jiren because you have to respect MVP. Sorry, I always say MVP, but turning the tide. And then 2 Black Smokes again against Unisons, against heavy sort of barrier type deck. Quite a few in there really. And then just a Z deck. So 1 Surmounting because again you want Self Awakening. 2 1-drop Freezers. Again, it has a wall of text, but all it is in this deck is a 1 Z energy, 1 energy, a 15k attacker. Again, for anyone that might be new to Frieza, you can't use these ones for your leader skill because the cost is for them to go into the drop, and Z battle cards obviously get removed. They don't go into drop. So for anyone that is not familiar with Frieza or wants to play it, you can't use these for your leader skill or any Z battle card for that matter that happens to meet the criteria. I did go with 1 Oolong. Before I carry on, actually, these were the main 3 I played all weekend. So these other Z deck cards I do play now and again, but I feel like these 3 of them are the main ones I play. I do have Oolong because, copying 40k for 1 energy is still fantastic. So I like Oolong. This is a card that took me a little while to get behind, but it's really, really good. It is 3 Z energy, which is quite expensive for this particular deck, but it's 2 energy, and what it does is it's basically deflect dual attack as natural, which is fantastic. And then it's only 10k, but when it swings, it gets a 5k boost, and that's not once per turn. But also, for battle cards in rest mode, you can choose one of them and kill them, which is great removal. Yes, it doesn't ignore barrier, but if they've got established a wide field because they've had to, maybe tap down all the cards, it's just ways of killing 2 battle cards in rest mode, and it can go up to 20k. Plus, if they have 5 cards or 5 or more cards in rest mode, this gets crit and barrier as well. So, it's just pressure removal. It's a fantastic card, and that's why you run 1 off, because again, it's not something you would want to play more than once per game. And then these 2 are just fantastic generic yellow cards. The Vegeta, which is this one here, gets dual attack as standard. It's a 3-cost 2 Z energy. 20k, kill something, ignoring barrier, which is fantastic. Always nice to have barrier removal. If it happens to be in rest mode, you get crit, so it can be 20 dual crit. But if you just naturally kill something in active mode, it's just a 20k dual, so still great. And then the Goku even. Again, when you play it, so you can target something in rest mode, and then it can't attack next turn. So that's already fantastic. It's got deflect and its barrier, which again is fantastic. When it's in rest mode, when your opponent plays a card, there's a card, isn't it? Yeah, plays a card. You may place one of your Z energy in the owner's drop, and if you do, you can choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards or Unison, which is quite interesting, and switch it to rest mode. So you don't have to obviously target the incoming card. And it's just it's a really defensive card. They're not ones I play too often because they are 3 energy, which is, even though I'm untapping a lot, I can do a lot more with 3 energy. But these are really good utility cards as well. So that's the deck in its sort of whole. I think, obviously, 2 of my games were streamed. Just to go off my memory, my first game was against Blue Trunks, which I think is fine. My second game was against Black Trunks, which again is fine. Obviously, that one was streamed, but pretty much Golden Frieza is such an amazing SCR. If my memory is correct, I think Trunks had about maybe 13 or 12 cards in hand. I checked his super combo count. He already used quite a lot by then. I had 3 or 4 super combos in hand. I dropped this. He goes down to 5. I'm not even scared of petrification, because if he petrifications me, which he does, then he goes down to 3 cards. And at that point, I've got like 13, 14 cards in hand. I've got super combos. Like, I'm not dying. And that's what's so good about this card. Even it's not about it just killing. It's also the fact it resets your opponent. And if you've still got all your super combos live and he's used most of his, like, it's done its job at that point. Because then what happens is you clear it up with your unisons and things like that. I played against Green Gohan, which I think Green Gohan is fine now. It used to be, I used to think it was impossible, but with tweakings, because that's the thing with yellow, it has answers to everything. You just need to make sure you pack the right answers and side them in. So like Mochaito, for example, that's back in the meta now, where when was the last time that ever saw play? You know what I mean? So it's been a long time. And then I lost to Mirror Match Frieza, but it was green, and I didn't have a clue what it does, or even. But now I understand what it does. But you're never gonna expect that. That's sadly the also downside of best of one pre-side. Color combinations like that will catch you off guard. You could say it's genius move, or you could just say it's the curse of best of one pre-side, because in best of 3, you won't get caught off for game 2 or 3. But that's just me being a little bit of that. And then game 3 was Android 21. This is the only one that went to time. So I lost in time technically. But yeah, that's just, it's Android 21. Nobody likes that deck, and I don't like playing against it. But there you go. I think they're all my matchups, but I had a lot of fun. Came knife, so not too bad, but yeah.
Hell yeah, and 9th place is absolutely a place to be proud of, and I think we can all agree that fuck Android 21, because that deck is just not fun.
Yeah, so I didn't unfortunately win my Invoker leader, which is a shame really, because that, I'm going to be the only one that actually, other than Legends, actually wants to use that card in my deck, rather than stick it away in a collection and never use it. But maybe one day. Maybe
it's all right. You'll win it in the France regionals. The French better be watching out next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I need to buy French cards.
Yeah, we're expanding the British Empire.
Exactly. I'm going after, what is it, the 27th it is, so hopefully I'll be there, but we'll see what happens.
Hell yeah. All right, well, thanks very much for the deck profile and the matchup breakdown. Before we finish up, did you have any sort of last shout-outs or last thoughts about the deck?
Yeah, I just noticed on camera how cool this actually looks.
It does look sick.
I didn't plan it like that. I was just like looking at my screen. I was like, oh, actually, you know what? That's fun right there. But no, shout out to you, Ollie. Always having obviously us on here, because way of spreading our love. So thanks very much for that, and thanks to everyone in Team -2, all the people that support me. Thanks for TOs organizing. There's going to be loads of names I forget, but that's just because I don't come prepared. I should really write down all of this stuff. But yeah, thanks everyone who actually supports me, either when I'm casting or playing or whatever. I have people messaging me with different things, but and thanks to Legends for making the deck, because like I say, this is his baby that he's been working on. But yeah, thanks to everyone.
Hell yeah. All right, well, on that note, thanks very much for joining us here today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. I hope you guys are looking forward to playing loads of Golden Frieza next set, because we don't want to play the new leaders. We're just going to play set 1 leaders from now on.
Very true.
But yeah, thanks very much, guys, for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one with another T-2 collaboration.